In a world where monsters arrive on a weekly basis, a team of heroes is needed to beat them back. Armed with nothing but their dice, their character sheets, and their quick wits, will your players have what they need to survive? Hello everyone, I'm the Aries1999.
I'm JackofHearts.
And today we are talking about the Monster of the Week game system. This is a narrative-focused RPG that's more based on what makes sense in a particular scene rather than hard mechanics. Today we are going to be going over how to play and how to make your characters. Now, each player has a certain number of points for their base stats, which are charm, cool, sharp, tough, and weird. You add these to whatever moves you make.
Charm is how good you are at talking to people you are. Cool is how good you are at keeping yourself an elf in your head on how bad of a situation you're in. Sharp is how observant you are. Tough is how physically constituent you are. And weird is how connected to the supernatural and weird and freaky stuff connected you are. To make specific moves, the players roll 3d6 instead of a d20 and add a value that is usually between -3 and +3. A 6 and under is usually a fail. A 7 through a 10 is a mixed success, and a 10 plus is a complete success. That is consistent across any roll, but what it means is the players succeed or fail varies on the situation. When only a player or a hunter will roll all throughout the game, the game master or keeper will respond in a given situation on whatever makes sense, not their dice.
Yeah. Now, there are 8 basic moves that any hunter can make. These being act under pressure, help out, investigate a mystery, kick some ass, manipulate someone, protect someone, read a bad situation, and use magic. Now, what these do in the general sense is pretty self-explanatory, but you will need to consult the book for some specifics of what passing or failing means. It would take a bit too long to go through this with every move in the book. That said, we will read through the technique act under pressure. So this covers trying to do something under conditions of particular stress or danger. When you act under pressure, you add plus cool. On a 10 plus, you do what you set out to do. On a 7 to 9, the keeper is going to give you a worse outcome, hard choice, or price to pay. On a miss, things go to heck.
Watch your language. In order to use any of these moves, you don't just declare, I am going to act under pressure. Rather, you would describe what you are doing in game. For example, if a Wendigo is about to eat you and you need to stay focused on a computer, you might say, I'm typing away at actually the oddly specific anti-Wendigo security system that I paid $50 for, so better be worth it. Keeper would then roll that you have to act under pressure and you have to roll plus your cool.
Oh, just a reminder, remember to renew your Wendigo insurance. You never know when they might strike. Now, anyway, let's say that you get a 4 overall, but desperately need to keep that monster at bay. You can expend a luck point to automatically succeed the check.
You only have 7 luck points to use over your character's career, so be careful with them. Once you run out, you're literally out of luck. So don't go to Vegas. And the keeper is allowed to be extra tough on you, especially at Vegas.
Now, at this point, you're probably wondering how you determine what your base stats are. These are tied to your hunter archetype. In the core rules, there are playbooks for 9 of these types.
The chosen are chosen by destiny for greater things like sorcerers who can tell the future.
Woo! Woo! Okay, the expert is someone who has spent his or her life investigating the paranormal.
And the flake is like a pseudo version of said expert who specializes in conspiracy theories, like the state of Wyoming.
I'm telling you, dude, it's real.
It's not. It's really not like birds or the moon or JFK.
Yep. Then there's the initiate. This is someone who's chosen by a secret order to fight the supernatural, like the Voldekins.
Monstrous is part of is part monster like a wolfman or even a centaur, or with a little work you can make them a vampire.
The mundane is just a normal, everyday person.
They suck. Professional.
They have a role.
I was joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just edit this conversation out.
Okay. The mundane is just a normal, everyday person.
They suck. The professional is someone who specializes in monster hunting for a living.
The spooky have magical powers that they must pay for, like warlocks.
They're wrong. Someone who is directly hurt by the supernatural on a personal level. They're basically Boone from New Vegas if the Legion were vampires.
Yeah. Now, in this system, rather than roll for stats, they are directly tied to your archetypes. There will be one consistently high trait, but you get to pick the others. For example, with the mundane, you get a +2 for charm. Then you can pick to have a +1 to cool and tough with a 0 to sharp and a -1 to weird, a +1 to sharp and tough with a 0 to weird and a -1 to cool, +1 to weird and tough with 0 to cool and +1 to sharp, or -1 to sharp rather, and a few others.
You cannot roll for stats. It's kind of a downer. It's like you're discovering your character during character creation. Do they rock? Do they suck? Is it somewhere in the middle? Usually it's somewhere in the middle. But you can't really do this in Monster of the Week. Yeah, you could randomize your stats, but you can't really get that at one chance of having an amazing character.
Well, I would say that sort of forces to have more balanced characters, which I guess kind of forces more teamwork. And if you want to randomize them, then you could just line out the 5 distributions that you could pick from, then randomly get a number 1 through 5. For our purposes, we're going to make in this video a mundane character with a +2 to charm, +1 to cool and tough, +0 to sharp, and a -1 to weird.
In addition to stats, you also get to pick out moves based on your archetype. If you keep using the mundane as an example, you'll take panic button. When you need to escape, name the route and you'll try and roll +sharp and a +10 or higher, you will get out of danger. No problem. You can 7 or 9, you can go or stay. But if you go, it's going to cost you. Leave something behind or something comes and messes with you. Or you get arrested for trespassing. And on a miss, you're caught halfway out.
Let's get out of here! With this ability, you can try to protect someone by telling them what to do or by leading them out, and you roll +charm instead of +tough.
The power of the heart. So, when fighting a monster, if you help someone, don't roll +cool. You automatically help as though you rolled and got a total of 10.
See, I told you they weren't losers.
Not total losers.
That is how you would make your own character, but this is, of course, a group game. That's why before you start the first sessions, the players go around and add details to each other's backstory to tie them all together. Hopefully, the keeper gave you some information about the settings. That way you can make sure that your characters actually fit in the game. I mean, you wouldn't want to build a cowboy if, this is supposed to be some alien abduction in Paris.
Bonjour. Or, now that you have the characters, you'll want to start starting playing. Like with any tabletop RPG, the keeper will need to determine what threats you'll be facing. Unlike with D&D, this does not mean coming up with a detailed adventure but determine the enemy locations. Instead, you focus on broad strokes. You know what the monster is what they want, when, in such way as they were likely to attack, where they hide out, and how you can hurt it.
By the way, I like your impression of King Louis XIV. That's what I like to assume he sounded like.
Hey guys, it's Aries of the Future here, saying that I made a bit of a goof. I accidentally called King Louis the 14th out here when I meant to say King Louis the 11th. Louis the 11th was known as the Prudent, and he's the one that's featured in Hunchback of Notre Dame. King Louis the 14th actually is the Sun King. So just if you hear any references to King Louis the 14th in here, know that we mean King Louis the 11th.
Secretly a vampire. He's my cousin.
Hey, at least you're not related to the Sun King. That would be awkward. I mean,
Yes.
you are kind of related to him if that's the case. Now, this game system lends itself to a more open-ended city exploration, not dungeon crawls. Perhaps a vampire is stalking the residents of a local town. The players could find out that people are being killed by blood loss. After snooping around, they hear a bat was seen flying out of Mr. McCreevy's house on the night he died. Maybe someone was walking home with some friends after dinner at the Olive Garden. He had eaten garlic bread, and he was the only one that the killer didn't attack.
From there, the players could look up more into vampire lore and study up on a bat population in that town. Big bat out of each arc has a special weakness. As well, the hunters can take out a normal target using weapons until they are accurate and crew enough damage. They will have to use a villain's weakness to finish it off. Perhaps as they prepare for the hunt, they could get out their garlic from the grocery store, or just steal it from the garlic patch, and holy water from the church. Stealing it renders it void, but still.
Yeah. Don't steal holy water. Yeah, and that reminds me, speaking of holy water, in the book Salem's Lot by Stephen King, the heroes all received a blessing from Father Callahan before going after Barlow. And in Dracula, Dr. Van Helsing said that they would have to decapitate the vampire and stuff his head with garlic to prevent him from rising again. Those could both be viable options to prevent it from being any further trouble.
Speaking of fighting with my kinsmen, and you need to talk about the health system.
Good point. The health bar, quote unquote, is based on how much harm you've accrued. Full-scale brawls tend to only happen at the end of a hunt once players catch up with that arc's main monster. Before that, though, they still might get hurt.
The harm system is a much tighter scale than most RPGs. If you accrue 1 to 3 harm, he'll be fine, even if it's just a flesh wound. If you can recover on your own, a 4 to 7 needs serious medical attention and will get worse if left untreated. 8 harm is a lethal dose. You may wonder if that's a lot of health. Well, a pistol deals about 2 damage, and the average monster does 4.
Yeah.
King Louis XIV dealt 6.
Oh, by the way, this isn't completely irrelevant, but King Louis XIV was a major character in most versions of Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. But anyway, just imagine that, him just using, his mighty hunter abilities to take down Claude Frollo.
Oh.
Anyway, a weapon will specify how much harm it does to a target. When you roll to kick some arse, you expose yourself to potential harm. But if you get a 10+, then you have the option to decrease the amount of damage dealt to you.
I bet you've dealt with whatever monster was attacking you. I bet you expect to get some experience.
Wrong.
Well, you are wrong. Or at least kind of. Rather than get experience for doing something right, you get it for doing something wrong. Like answering my questions, stupid.
I win, I think.
You lose.
Anyway, every time you get a 6 or lower on a roll, you get to mark experience. In addition to that, you do get experience from certain moves in your playbook, and when you mark 5 experience, you level up.
When you get level up, you get to pick out from a number of benefits, including learning a new move from your playbook, obtaining an ally, going up to Louis XV, or boosting a base score. There are archetype-specific advancements. For example, the initiate can obtain a higher position in the secret society.
I think Monster of the Week has a lot of potential, but like with any game, it really comes down to who your fellow players are and who the game master is.
Any game can be made fun with the right game master. It really depends more on the game master than the rules. Even racial holy war and Fatal can, if you ignore the sex and racism or have a sexist or racist sense of humor, and if you like crunchy, and I mean stupidly crunchy experience. I wouldn't recommend it, but you do you.
Yeah. I would really recommend giving it a try, though. Monster of the Week, not Fatal.
Or racial holy war. We do not
I don't have
condone
any experience
racism.
with Fatal, so I'm not going to comment on it. If you want a specific module that you can play through, jump on over to Jack's channel for part 2, where we talk about Mongolian death words. Wait, in your video, we called this video part 2, but now in this video, we're calling that one part 2. I think we broke math.
You better be quiet, or I will shoot. Put your hands up.
Don't worry, my editor's a pretty good math guy. I'll ask him what he thinks.
You better.
Yep. Anyway, the Mongolian Death Worms is the adventure that came prepackaged with the starting rules.
Yes. I guess that's all we have to say here, except for the long ballad of Louis XIV. Don't forget to like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe to both myself and Aries for more collaborations.
If you want to see this game system in action, I recommend the Adventure Zone podcast. For Season 2, they used the Monster of the Week system to deal with creatures that were coming from the land of Sylvain into the town of Kepler, West Virginia. And also, Jack and I, we are looking into starting our own specialty playthrough of Monster of the Week to go through. Well, it's a surprise what we're going through, but let's just say it's a very popular D&D module that we're going to try
not
something
involve
different.
Louis XIV, sadly.
But
I wish
anyway,
it did.
we thank you for watching. I've been the Aries 1999.
And I've been Jack of Hearts. Bye-bye.
Bye.